What's good, everybody? It's your boy theGHFshow. Don't make it husky. Back with another video. If you ain't seen my last video, go ahead and check that out. Link will be in the description. Feel me? But yeah, starting 2024 off right. Today's video topic, y'all in for a little bit of a treat, cause I got a story time and like a little voicemail I got ready for y'all. So feel me? The video topic is, have you healed your inner child? However, I came to this prompt in the form of another prompt. I was having a conversation with my best friend, and she was like, Jordan, what's a mistake that you've made that you just can't justify? And of course, you know, as a man, you just like, man, I got here. This is where I'm supposed to be because, you know, this is what God had destined for me. And it's like, yeah, it's easy to say that. It's easy to think that. But in all actuality, it's like, let's really get into it. Like, what's a mistake that I made that I can't justify? And in short, I would say not cutting off dead ends sooner. I'm a real genuine guy. I like to show love. I like to smile. Like, yeah, once you get past the resting bitch face that everybody say I got, I swear I don't have one. Everybody think I'm unapproachable or whatever, but once you get past that, yo, you gonna have the time of your life. It's like welcome to death row, feel me? It's like, yeah. But yeah, I think when you're genuine or you just love. Not in a sappy sense or romantic sense, but you just like to surround yourself around good vibes, good energy, all that. A lot of times it's easy to expect yourself out of other people. And as I was saying in my last video, feel me? Free promo. If there's no amount of conversation that you could have or reasoning that you could have with somebody to make them fit the fantasy that you have of them in your brain, it'll never work. It's just, yeah, nah. You can't really you can't expect yourself out of other people. And many times people will do that and hurt themselves. And what I want to draw your attention to is when you begin to define, what self-worth is, what your standards are, and how you plan to live your life, how you gonna govern yourself. It's important that you take out you really get down to the core of who you are and what you want life to look like. It's easy. Everybody wants to stand on business. Everybody's standing on business. The sign language thing for standing on business is standing on business or something like that. My brother takes sign language, and that's what he told me. So if he's wrong, get at him in the comments. But yeah, it's easy. People don't stand on principle no more. There's no rhyme to people's reason. It's just, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how I gotta live because I don't want to get hurt, or I'm avoiding altercation, or I'm avoiding discomfort, or even growth sometimes. And for me, I think where I begin to draw the line is when I have to ask myself what's being too patient or impatient as it pertains to running away from growth. And a lot of times people will run away from growth because it's hard to face yourself. And a lot of those traumas are deeply rooted in how you was raised. Growing up for me, I mean, both my parents lived together, and all my brothers, we got at least a minimum of 3 year gap in between all of us. My little brother, I got 5 years on him. My older brother got 3 years on me. And around the time when I was growing up, my brother was in high school doing what he had to do, at least as it pertains to this story time. But my little brother is 5 years younger than me, so I take care of him. My mom worked first shift. My dad worked, my dad worked first shift. My mom worked third shift. So my dad's not really getting off till 5. My mom goes into work at 3. But if you get out of school 2:30, 3 o'clock, football practice at 5 o'clock, there's a lot of time to really just fend for yourself. So I had to make sure we ate, make sure he got off the bus already, make sure I got my homework done, his homework done, etc., etc. Just, checking in and taking care of the kid. You know what I mean? That's my dog, too. But yeah, I think as it pertains to figuring out that spectrum of being too patient or being impatient and running away from growth, you have to define what ego and morality is to you. Now, for me, I think ego is when you're actually looking into the social media and feeding into what they say or subscribe to is, how you're supposed to live. I'm just one of many podcasts and podcasters that try to preach their gospel. I'm thinking of Charleston White, he talk about preaching his gospel. If y'all see that podcast with me, just know I'm trolling. But yeah, I'm one of many people that'll spread their gospel and tell you what's a right or wrong way to live. In all reality, I want y'all to take away from, I want y'all to look at me, look at where I'm at, and try to figure out and define what everything means for you. Because, yeah, I could tell you how I got through things. I could tell you, how I feel, but it's only really you that you got to answer to. You got to look at yourself in the mirror every day when you wake up. So, let me get right into the story time. I got a little treat for y'all. Hold on, just give me a sec. So, to give y'all a little backstory, right? I'm fell out with a family friend. I'm talking about known him for years. I known him for years. This was somebody I thought would be like a best man at my wedding or something like that. Like, we was really locked in. Went to school together. We worked out together. Like, I gave 4 years of my life to this dude. Feel me? And even though we fell out, I can't sit here and say to y'all that I don't have love for him. It's just different, and that's where we together are gonna uncover the boundaries. So as I started podcasting, right, everybody has opinions. Well, you got podcasts like this, you got to do that. You're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. Try this or try that. And of course, it's important to listen to your supporters. However, you got to listen to how they support you and also pay attention to the underlying tones underneath it, right? Which brings me into this little snippet real quick, so just listen up. Hold on. I got y'all.
Yo, bro, this do not disturb phone tag shit you be playing, my nigga. Ever since you did your little podcast and shit like that, bro, you're not Kanye yet, my nigga. Answer the phone, nigga.
So I kept this. This voicemail was from May 12th, 2023. So by the time I'm recording this is December. But I didn't start podcasting until last October. So I'm just now passing my 1 year anniversary. I know. And then it don't even feel like a year, but yeah. He sent me that, and initially I'm like, he's gotta be joking. Psst, it's my dog. He not gonna do that. But nah, your dogs will really do that, especially when, you run into all different types of personalities and egos. I was just coming into that, just coming up of the age where you realize there's some friends that you could be cool with as long as they're doing better than you. Sometimes you don't really notice that, especially when this friend of mine was 4 or 5 years older than me. Not that he took advantage of me, but he didn't do anything that I didn't accept or already do to myself. And I was hurt. I'm not going to lie. I was hurt. Because growing up, this was somebody I looked up to. We played similar positions, grew up together, played for my father. Anybody that know Coach Ravs, yeah, that's my dad. But this was somebody I was really locked in with. If I ever watched that Drewski video, for lifers. But yeah, I was hurt because I don't know, just love hard. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm gonna just wear it on my sleeve. And towards the end of this semester, so now around November-ish, after my 1 year anniversary I was telling y'all about before, I was watching Burning Sands. Anybody that knows Zurich, the main character who was trying to pledge to whatever fraternity he was in, his professor, Professor Hughes, had read him a Frederick Douglass quote. And the quote was, it's easier to build strong boys than it is to rebuild broken men. Now I'm saying with that, I'm like, how does that pertain to me? As somebody, this is a friend I grew up with. This is somebody I gave a lot of time to. And I gave this friendship a part of me. When you want something to really flourish, you go a little bit harder for it. Just because it's something that you've never seen before, something you've never experienced before, it's a learning curve. Like, all that sappy shit, yeah, it's, regular. But it's important that you bring it back to the original prompt, heal your inner child, because it's easy for that trauma or that pain or that discomfort to spill over and change how you live the rest of your life, or even how you bond with other people. Mike Tyson once said, if you allow an altercation or situation to change how you interact with somebody, that they are now your master, and you are no longer living how you would want to live, because you're constantly thinking about, well, how should I live, or what standard on business like, or how should I be, as a man, what's masculinity like, what's my identity. I feel like he disrespected me. Do I gotta press him? Do I gotta this? These are all the intrusive thoughts that's really running around through your head, and you really gotta not only understand that you're not your thoughts, but listen to the thoughts long enough to hear your inner child and what actually triggered you. Were you triggered because you felt taken advantage of, or taken advantage of? Were you triggered because it didn't work out? Were you triggered because they didn't love you how whatever fantasy you had written out for them in your head, it didn't play out like that in real life? Like, you really got to get down to the nitty gritty as to what bothered you. And I began to realize, and I came across another quote. You know how y'all be having the little phone apps that send you one of them daily quotes or whatever. The quote was, sometimes when you unclench your fist, right, you begin to realize that you were holding on to nothing. But actually, I disagree with that a little bit, and here's why. I felt as though what you hold on to is that pain, the trauma. You're not allowing yourself to grow, flourish, spread your wings, and actually learn from the situation. But there are times when you realize that you were holding on to something so tight that the only thing that was hurting yourself was you. And that's what I do agree with. Now, as it pertained to this situation, this was somebody I spent every day with for damn near 5 years. Worked out together. We watched movies together. Best believe this wasn't the first time that a slight, a shot, or whatever, any type of disrespect had ever occurred. I think it's always subtle before a big situation like this where it led to the demise of our friendship, through disrespecting my time, disrespecting me, my family. Like, if you could disrespect my people to me, what do you think of me? That's how I began to look at it, Like, what do you take me for? You take me as a sucker, huh? Nah. But in all reality, he isn't the one to blame to even bring that to me, because at some point I had allowed it. And as I was saying at the beginning of the video, he hadn't done something to me that I hadn't already done to myself. And I think the silver lining of this friendship is that, not even friendship, but time, is that friendships change over the years. Trauma changes somebody, misfortune changes somebody. It all changes, it looks different and adapts over time. And recently, actually, he had called me to apologize, which I didn't really. I was a bit bitter at first. Like, at first it's like, what do you want? I called my parents because, as I was saying, as a family friend, I'm like, yo, how should I handle this? They're like, just hear them out. But my parents, they never ever give me the answers to the test. They always want me to learn from something. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So he calls me one night. It's like 1 a.m. I got class in the morning. I don't really answer. I'm like, fuck this. And he texts me later that afternoon, like, yo, you got a minute to talk. Like, I gotta tell you something. So I'm like, all right. I give him a call back, and he apologizes. And it wasn't like just an apology just because he wanted to hear me apologize. It was a sincere apology. Like, you can hear them getting choked up on their words. You can see the glistening of their eyes that they may be ready to cry. Because before we went to school together, I was telling you there was such a big age gap. My dad was like, you know what? I need you to make sure that you do right by my son. And that was the first thing that he opened up in the apology with was, yo, like, as the bigger brother, as the older person in this situation, I apologize because I did you wrong and I didn't deserve anything that he had did for me. It was just a proximity thing. When somebody's bitter about what's going on in their life, I thought that not that you could change somebody or love somebody out of it, but sometimes that's the bit of morality somebody needs, right? And now we're getting into the purpose of what you or somebody else serves in your life, etc., etc. Again, nothing. There's no amount of reason, wisdom, laughs, warm-heartedness that you could give somebody that will allow them to see you for what you actually did. And in all actuality, the apology, yeah, I accepted it, and it resonated with me. But by the time he had called me from March to November-ish, I had already forgave him. It didn't mean I forgiven him. It didn't mean that I lose love for him, because you don't really lose love for somebody I mean, like, yeah, you're not hanging around them as much, so proximity changes, things change, but, I will think back to this. This is something that I'm going to forever live with. Crazy turn of events, life happens. Like, this is something that I'll be able to tell my son for generations and generations to come, because the lessons are really timeless. And wrapping up the apology, he was like, I don't know if I violated our foundation, but, it would be nice to have my brother back. And I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, like, it's a little late for that, my boy. Like, it's a little late. So, I heard him out. I didn't make it weird. Didn't cut him off. I think the most important part was to really hear him and allow him to express himself, because, digressing a little bit, it's important that you take a step back and realize friendship, sometimes the purpose that somebody serves in your life may not have been what you shared together. Rather, how you fell out and what you did after the fact. How did you begin to make yourself whole? What did that situation teach to both of you so that you can move forward with the lessons, ethics, morals, virtues, whatever, to be able to live freely, smile, spread love, etc., etc. That's what is most important, which is why I made sure not to outburst, not to be weird, not to play dumb in his face. But that's my morality kicking in. That's just me. Now, probably getting into what y'all want to hear last, or most, really. Will I call him back? I'm really playing the Jeopardy song in my head, but of course I'm going to call him back. On my time, though. Just because I forgave him doesn't mean that it relinquishes me of the duty of doing my introspection, looking internally and figuring out, again, what triggered me, what hurt my feelings, what made me feel taken advantage of. Just reflect and begin to use this life lesson as a guide. And I think the most important part about it is I can't allow this situation to stop or impact, impair, whatever, how I love in any other relationship, whether it's with my career, whether it's with friends, whether it's with my girl, etc., etc. Because then I'm not allowing myself to grow. It's all on me now. Like, what will I do with the lessons that I've learned from this situation? And that, my friends, is what the Glass Half Full Show is all about. Introspection, emotional intelligence, and growth. Now, episode 2, season 2, another banger. Y'all want to see some more? Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all want to see. Let me know how y'all feel about the setup, etc., etc. But it's your boy J. Reverend Spassky, and I'm out, ski.